Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Hello, Catholic pilgrims, welcome back. How curious are you to learn? Obviously, you're a little bit curious because you're here reading this book with me. St. Augustine shares a bit of insight into the fact that when we are forced to learn something, we lose our curiosity. Let's hear what he has to say by turning to page 35 to read from Book 1, Chapter 14. If this was so, why did I dislike Greek literature, which tells these tales, as much as the Greek language itself? Homer, as well as Virgil, was a skillful spinner of yarns, and he is most delightfully imaginative. Nevertheless, as a boy, I found him little to my taste. I suppose that Greek boys think the same about Virgil when they are forced to study him as I was forced to study Homer. There was, of course, the difficulty which is found in learning any foreign language, and this soured the sweetness of the Greek romances. For I understood not a single word, and I was constantly subjected to violent threats and cruel punishments to make me learn. As a baby, of course, I knew no Latin either, but I learned it without fear and fret, simply by keeping my ears open while my nurses fondled me and everyone laughed and played happily with me. I learned it without being forced by threats of punishment because it was my own wish to be able to give expression to my thoughts. I could never have done this if I had not learnt a few words, not from schoolmasters, but from people who spoke to me and listened when I delivered to their ears whatever thoughts I had conceived. This clearly shows that we learn better in a free spirit of curiosity than under fear and compulsion. But your law, O God, permits the free flow of curiosity to be stemmed by force. From the schoolmaster's cane to the ordeals of martyrdom, your law prescribes bitter medicine to retrieve us from the noxious pleasures which cause us to desert you. I was reading an article the other day that was talking about how social media has killed our curiosity. Instead of using all the information at our fingertips to learn more, we instead read a few highlighted points that agree with our preconceived notions, and then we use that information to score points in the comment section. I'm totally guilty of this. We all are to some degree. I think our curiosity is lost in two main ways. One is the way that St. Augustine brings up. People are forcing some bit of knowledge down our throats and we just check out. Now, some may say, well, isn't this an argument for getting rid of schools then, where we are forced to go and learn? I guess it could be, but I don't think it works out very well when people try that. For example, I've been a homeschooling mom for 14 years now, and I've met other homeschoolers who do what is called unschooling. Basically, the idea is that the kids decide what they want to learn. If they are super into rock hunting, like my son is right now, you focus all your energy on that. You go rock hunting, your spelling words are all related to rocks and minerals, you learn about categorizing rocks, etc. And this sounds nice in theory, but every unschooling family I've met, and I'm sorry if this ends up offending someone, but they just aren't doing very much. When the kids sail the ship, it tends to drift just wherever. As St. Augustine says, quote, "But your law, O God, permits the free flow of curiosity to be stemmed by force," unquote. There are some things we just have to buckle down and be forced to learn. Otherwise, we will only go after, quote, "noxious pleasures that cause us to desert God," unquote. I think the better option is to expose your kids to a wide variety of topics and subjects, and then wherever they are interested, dive deeper. Let their curiosity guide how deep you go. But there are just some things that have to be learned that kids aren't going to be curious about. We all have to learn at least basic math, spelling, reading, and writing. I would also say that as parents, we need to show that learning is fun and engaging. We have to be an example by learning new things ourselves and then sharing what we've learned. The other main way that curiosity is lost is from laziness. My husband, as an active duty senior officer, mentors a lot of younger military members. One thing he likes to ask them when they come see him is what they are learning about at the moment or what hobbies they have. Rarely, if ever, does he get an answer. They usually stare at him with a deer in the headlights look. And when he asks them why they aren't learning or have any hobbies, many of them just fumble around for an answer. I'm super busy, or I have kids. To which my husband always says, hey, I have kids and I'm busy too. How are you spending your time? Are you just sitting around watching your phone or TV? Now, one thing my husband often hears from people is that they're trying to have a work-life balance, which is one of my least favorite phrases on earth. Because the people that say that most often aren't doing anything much with the life, as if work isn't a part of life too. They aren't doing much with the life they have outside of work other than spending time on screens. It is impossible to be an interesting person if you aren't curious about things. One area that we should be highly curious is learning about our faith. If we love God as much as we claim, we should be chomping at the bit to learn as much about Him as we can. So get curious. Read, study, try something new, stretch yourself just a bit, but also realize sometimes we just need to learn something. Above all, though, we weren't ever meant to be stagnant. That is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I'll see you back here soon. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.